clients all behaving a lot like Warren Buffett here? And why is it that they are hoarding cash? Do they not see opportunities to put this money to work?
Well, first of all, great to be with you, even though remotely. I think a lot of the clients, most of them have held in equities. I think a lot of people that went to cash went from fixed income, kind of near cash instruments, and converted it into pure cash, both for liquidity and also because of government insurance, really, in these cash accounts that they can get that they can't get in money market types of funds.
Well, speaking of government insurance here, something interesting about your client base is that this is private clients. This tends to lean a little wealthier. If they're not putting money to work in this economy, how are we supposed to get the economy to kickstart?
Yeah, I think there's an awful lot of wait and see. And as you know, the whole virus and what return to work is going to look like leaves a lot of uncertainty. So, people fall into two camps. That as we gradually open up now, if the consumer comes back and the opening up goes without flaws and people get back to work and start earning money and spending money, the economy will start recovering. If that doesn't happen, many businesses won't make it that are on the edge, or if it goes into a second wave and there's another close down, it'll be devastating for businesses. And so many people are keeping liquid, waiting for that event to buy or to invest through the second cycle, or to get comfortable enough that the cycle is going to continue to be positive and they can invest. So, and you can see that in the markets as they go. 2 weeks ago is a bad week. Last week's a good week. April was a good month. We open up, tough today. So people are just very, very uncertain as what this recovery is going to look like.
Well, given this uncertainty, you mentioned the term government insurance when it came to cash balances, to deposits. People can feel comfortable with the money they put away in the safe. But what would it take for them to start investing again?
Again, I think people are waiting for a recovery sign that we're in a recovery, that there's so many businesses affected by COVID, from big businesses to little businesses. And the question is, even with a lot of the government programs, which have been great at keeping businesses open, most of those programs were 2-month programs or 3-month programs, really to keep people paid or to keep businesses open through the cycle. As people getting back to work, the question is, will the consumer show up? Will they show up at restaurants? Will they get on a plane? Will they go to events? And if the answer is yes, a lot of those businesses will make it, and over time will be able to start paying their debt. If the answer is no, then a lot of those businesses won't make it. So people are very uncertain in what to invest in. And the airline industry is a great example where, even if people were totally went off a lockdown and everywhere and they were free to move around, right. Are they going to get on a plane? Are they going to get on a cruise ship? Are they going to, the consumer spending is what's going to drive the economy forward. And that's a big unknown. How will consumers behave over these next 3 months?
Paul, we spoke this morning to Jim Milstein, the co-CEO, co-chairman of Guggenheim Securities. One of the things he mentioned was, with these government programs, with these ballooning debt levels, that what will happen is that the corporate sector and wealthier individuals, people who have been able to benefit regardless of this time frame, are the ones that are going to have to be taxed more to pay for a lot of these efforts. I'm very curious as to your reaction to that thinking. Is that threat something your clients are considering?
Well, I'm not running for president, so I don't have to take any political positions. My view is, honestly, this has been a subject not just because of this. It's before this, we've had growing debt, and at some point, how do you pay it back? And you either do it through growing the economy faster than we have been able to in recent times, or you're going to have to increase tax levels. And it's been a big political debate, is how do you do that? Some have tried to tax, the 1%, but truthfully, there's not enough money there, to tax the 1%. If 50% of people in the U.S. pay no taxes, and their children are elderly or, not employed, and it's kind of hard to throw it on one small group. So given these economic levels, if you really started repaying debt, taxes would have to go up really across the board. And the question is, what does that do to continue growth? And that's, kind of the wide open question. And part of that's political and part of it's economic reality. We need more revenue if we're going to pay back this debt.
So the idea of greater taxes to the 1%, how much of a threat is that, and how are people preparing for that?
I don't think most people are overly preparing for that. I think that most people would expect some reasonable increase in taxes to the wealthy. We've seen all sorts of programs. I think what they balk at are some of the more extreme, wealth taxes that are bigger numbers or, versus taxes on income. But I think most people assume taxes will go up. And I for an individual, think that's okay. Other people may not. But, I think that taxes where they were even before the last cut on the wealthy were fine. So political reality is taxes are going to go up. The wealthy are going to have to bear more than those that aren't wealthy. It's how do you do it, how quickly, and what's the fair allocation of how you pay those taxes. So I think taxes are going up, and most people I think operate under that assumption right now.